So, welcome to the REHolistic Physio podcast. Here, we are going to try and find out the whys in order to work on the hows. Everything that is covered on the podcast is based on current evidence and up-to-date information on each topic. Please seek advice from your GP or a healthcare professional before carrying out any of the advice that you hear on the podcasts. So today, I'm welcoming Mark Gaizley from Man Mind. Hello, Mark.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Good to have you here.
I'm lucky.
Third time lucky, everyone.
We'll get this.
You won't have heard this, but we've literally recorded this first part 3 times because we've been laughing and making blunders too much. So anyway, we'll let you in on that secret there. So this is Mark. You're 36 years old, living in Portsmouth, and you are a sports massage therapist and also the director of Man Mind, a community aiming to build strength and resilience through the power of breathwork and cold water therapy. Mark recently wrote a book in cold water therapy and how to start your journey into the cold. You're a keen fitness enthusiast and a lover of healthy and tasty food. Oh, thank God for that.
Yeah, I like healthy and tasty food combined.
Well
Not
done.
just healthy.
Good. No, me too. And you're also a TV actor and in film, and a huge outdoorsy person who can often be found in the mountains or woodland areas, which you're not in right now. You're in an office, aren't you?
Yeah, well, just sat at my mum's on her sofa actually, but yeah.
Hey, your mum's.
Yeah.
Oh, gotta love a
Mummy
mum.
was hosting me. She was hosting me today.
Oh, I love it. Your mum better have good Wi-Fi today. That's all I'm
Yeah,
gonna say.
well, yeah, we should be okay. I have warned her. She
You
ruins the
will.
podcast for us. I'd be really upset. No,
That's it.
she'll be
I'll
fine.
come round.
Yeah.
I will find where you are. I'll tell
told
your
her.
mum off and get her onto a different internet
Yeah.
server. Well, thanks for coming on to talk to us. Because I thought I saw you at the Mindset Maintenance 2024 conference, and I thought, yeah, I've got to have you on the podcast because I thought it was amazing what you were talking about. And so we decided we're going to start with saying about sort of how I think women are largely talkers, aren't we? You know, me being a woman myself, we love talking. We tend to share with our mates most things on the school run. You'll always find us chatting about something. You know, it's the way it is, isn't it, as a woman, and men as well. But men don't tend to be huge talkers, are they? Can you correct me if I'm wrong there?
Yeah, 100%. Women are very good at nurturing, so they're very good at talking to each other, and maybe they don't realize it, but you guys are really good at drip feeding it out. So it's almost like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. What men tend to do, like myself in the past, especially, is build these things up and then you just explode. It's just the way we are. Yeah, it's just where we're built.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And I think we were just talking through about some of the statistics, which I find really like heart-rending, honestly. So suicide, men are 3 times more likely to die of suicide than women. 75% of people in the UK who die by suicide are men. And it's the leading cause of death for men under 50. It literally gives me, like, makes my heart and just gives me, honestly, it just makes me ache, you know. That statistic and those statistics are just, I don't know, it's really weighs heavy, you know. And it says 40 to 49 is the highest suicide the age in the UK. And alcohol dependence is a big problem. Men are 3 times more likely to become independent or dependent on alcohol, and mental health disorders. 12.5% of all men in England suffer mental health disorders, and some of that they think the figure's possibly higher. It's just because possibly people don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think we need to make that more of a conversation because I think it's really important, you know, that people go and seek help or find their crew, find their tribe, find somewhere where they, you know, comfortable, confident talking to people and not always opening up necessarily, being around people to just have that time to listen and share if they feel like they can. Can you tell me a bit about what made you start sort of Man Mind?
Yeah, so I'll keep this brief because I know obviously the time we've got a lot to fit in. But Man Mind started when I was doing my acting training in 2018. I basically I was really struggling at college with the dynamic of the age group between me and the girls that were there, and I was trying to write a monologue, something that resonated with me. I couldn't find anything. I just wasn't in the best place to, so I just wrote down man mind. It was just thoughts about how I felt as a man, and then I remember just showing it to like a few people, and they were like, "Oh my God, like that's how I feel." And because obviously throughout my whole life, I'd kind of buried trauma and never really spoke about my feelings because it wasn't the to do thing. You kind of be like, "Yeah, I'm all right. You, yeah, you." That's always what I answered with is, "Yeah, you." Didn't even want to bring up how I felt because what's the point? So COVID happened and it kind of got left on the back burner. And I was in London living with my ex-girlfriend in 2022, and I really struggled in London. I've immediately got that, but I was like, oh my God, this is not right for me. But I was kind of stuck there in a way. So come the February, March time, I started wanting to create Man Mind or whatever this thing was and turn it into something. At first, it was like a mental health brand based for men, like t-shirts and some stuff like based on the core values like stoicism, men hunter gatherers and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, that seems a bit gimmicky, and I was like, this is so big, like this idea of men's mental health and the stigma. It can't just be t-shirt. It can't just be like this thing that I'm trying to flog money for t-shirts. So I scrapped that a bit, and then I started doing what I call nuggets of wisdom on my Instagram. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I have done consistently since I think May last year. Three videos a week on little nuggets that I feel that could help people, whether it's like advice or signs and symptoms that people could recognize that might have mental health problems, that sort of thing. And then in the me and my girlfriend split up in May, so I moved up down from Portsmouth, from London to Portsmouth, and I was lost. Like I left Portsmouth and all my old sort of friendship circle. I kind of come away from because I didn't want to drink anymore and stuff like that. And I was just lost and lonely. And I thought, well, I want to meet new people, but I also want to help some people. And I thought the best way to do it, because I've done cold therapy since 2018, breath work, I think since like 2020, something like that. And I thought, well, these two things have really helped me massively, and I want to bring like a community together. I didn't know how this was going to happen at first, but I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll advertise it. Breath work on the beach with cold water therapy. It was July at the time, so it wasn't really cold, but it was cold enough for some. Um,
Yeah.
and do you want to come and we'll have a coffee and a catch up after?
Yeah. That's
And
great.
I was bricking it. Four people come, and then that was it. And then boom, we're fast forward to now. It's I know we've done a mixed one the other day. I had 50, I had 100 on the year anniversary. On average, about 20 to 40 a week, I'd say,
That's
between them. But
amazing. That's amazing.
yeah, it's crazy.
And so, so just explain to me then, like how you bring in the breath work and the cold water therapy then into
Yeah.
it. So how's it?
So for me, the biggest thing I would say, and I always say this to the guys, breath is life. Okay, the
Yeah,
first thing we ever do when we come into this world is we gasp before we get our bum
great.
slapped and we cry, and then we leave this earth. The last thing we do is take a breath. Breath is life, and one thing because of stress and the world we live in is just so quick, fast paced that we're not even breathing correctly. So the whole idea is to like center ourselves, bring back like to the nasal breathing,
Yeah,
bring back everything back down to center, be mindful in what we're doing. So the breath work for me is bringing everyone back down to center. So they listen to my voice, I take them through the breath work, and it's just being aware of your own body, how it feels, like areas of breath. When you do it correctly and you do it the way we do it, you can feel it tingling in your feet, you can in your hands and your arms, and they lay down and they're grounding. And it's about bringing awareness to themselves, and then that basically kind of goes on to the next thing, the cold water therapy.
yeah.
So it gears you up. And when we do it together, one, breathing and controlling your breath work can release serotonin, which is a happy hormone.
Happy hormone.
We do it in a group, which releases oxytocin, which is like the petting a dog chemical, a cuddle chemical. Um, and then we gear ourselves up for the sea. We get into that mental mindset via the breath work, which releases endorphins because we're like, God, we're going to do this now. And then as soon as we've done it, we've gone in, we're like, wow, warriors, and we come out and it's the dopamine hit. So the breath work is so massively important. And I see a lot of groups doing individually sea dips and stuff like that, and they don't do the breath work. And I think, well, the niche part of this is that I think breath work is the most important part of it. Cold water therapy is great and it has so many benefits, but
Yeah.
even if people just want to sit on the deep beach and breathe, bring themselves back down to center, I talk about breath and how it's important and how we're breathing. Yeah, to me, that's like the fundamental part.
Yeah. And I see you on the Instagram when you do your meetups. you have everyone laying down. Is that to do the breath work? You have everyone grounded and laying down. Is
So
it better to do it laying down? Or?
well, not necessarily. I give them the option. So
Oh, you do?
people, I say, look, I've done the breathwork set up. I've done it laid down. For me personally, I lay down because you're so much more relaxed when you lay down. Also, sometimes people might have back issues. You know what people like when they sit up. If they've got achy back, it's a bit uncomfortable after 12 minutes. You might be wriggling around. So when you're laid down nice and comfortable, that's the whole idea. The whole idea of the mornings is safety and comfort. It's not to be like, right, you're all going in the sea, no matter what you say, you're all I say to people, if you want to do the breath work, do it. If you want to go in the sea, do it. If you don't want to do any of it, don't. If you want to just have a coffee after, cool. It's not to force people, it's to say, well, this is your space, do what you will in it.
And so they can stand, like they can even come down if they're slowly sort of thinking, I want to go and have a look. You invite them down, even if they just want to like observe and just see if it's something that they feel comfortable then getting involved with.
I just want them to come down.
Isn't it? Because like people, that's the other thing as well. So you'll say, oh yeah, it'd be really good for me to get out and be sociable and socialize. But trying to get out, I mean, the thought of meeting new people, or going into a room or a place, even outdoors, and meeting with a big group of people, for some people, is like a huge anxiety-inducing kind of, event. And it's kind of, that's the one thing, I suppose, being outdoors as well, which is quite nice because you're not confined to that room where you kind of have to walk in and go, hi,
But that's why it's important to do it at the sea and the beach for me, because humans by nature, we're in the sea, we're in the mountains, we're in the woods. It's only like in the last couple of 100 years we're confined to these cities, like concrete jungle. There's not enough greenery around. We're not getting enough greenery. We're not having these things in our life. Like, I know people, and there's probably a lot of people who might listen to this, but like, if they live near a body of water, how often do they get out and experience it, or do they even walk around it? It was only for me when I left Portsmouth to go to London how so insanely I missed the sea. I was spending 150 quid on a weekend. No one knew I was coming down. I was getting a hotel in Portsmouth, where I used to live, just to go by the sea, so I can have a walk up the seafront and have a dip. It was, so that's why I come back.
And I think the thing is the sea as well. And I know a lot of people will say, like, I went to Cornwall this summer with the kids, and we were on the beach, like me, my husband, and the kids were just on the beach. Just I found myself just staring out into the sea and just listening and just observing and just seeing what the water was doing. And it's just so grounding, almost being on the sand by the sea. I could just stood there for hours, and I don't sit still. I'm a person that many people know. I do not sit or stand still. I just, you can just stand there, can't you?
Well,
just take in the air and
grounding's important. Well, grounding is letting off electrical charge. So we, as humans, like we can be like, there's certain types of like energy that we pick up. So phones, they emit a lot of energy, negative energy. Even laptops, what we're doing now, TVs, it's all like EMF, right? So we're picking up this energy. We speak to people. I'm a massage therapist. You're a physio. You touch people. So, we absorb, we are just energy beings. We are literally atoms like bobbing around everywhere. And somehow we're like, I always call it the meat sack, but, we create this form.
Yeah.
But it's chemistry. Like when you look at like a baby or a dog, it's like that love and beauty. If energy transfer didn't exist, we wouldn't look at things so purely and joyously.
Yeah.
So, we pick up a lot of that. So what we need to do is disperse it. The whole grounding for electricity, when electric goes to ground, came from humans grounding. And it makes me laugh now because we've all had the like 80s kind of hippie vibe of a tree hugger, when actually they knew what they were doing, because when you touch a tree, you ground, so you let off your current and the tree absorbs it and goes back into earth. So actually go out and hug trees, but or come down to man mind, sit on the beach. When you touch natural stuff, like not like so much concrete or tarmac, but natural earth, like grass, trees, the sea. We ground in the sea. There's so much good energy in the sea. And then you come out and it's like, oh, I feel like supercharged, but also free.
Yeah. It's amazing, really. I think everyone should really try it.
Yeah.
Hopefully with the guidance of someone like yourself, not go, just somewhere and try it. Hopefully just, come to Man Mind, or if there's somewhere more local to you that does has a similar group, which I'm sure there are, you might know. I'm sure there's places scattered around, aren't there, the country that do similar
Yeah, I think so. I think the whole
Yeah,
idea is to just kind of reach out to them, like Google it. I mean,
yeah,
the
good.
best thing,
Yeah,
the great thing, the internet's not the best thing in the world, but it is great for local cold water dips near me. There'll be something that come on.
there'll be
But I
something.
mean, if you don't want to go out or you're struggling or there's no group, then you can do cold therapy from home. There's YouTube, there's the internet. We have it all here. It's just we're like,
Mm,
right, Google it. But
mm.
and that's great. But then the main thing, and I mean this, we need community.
Oh,
It doesn't
yes,
matter what anyone thinks. We self-isolate ourselves. We lose community. It's all based on the phones now. We need to get out and be
yeah,
with people.
absolutely with you, totally. So, in terms of cold water therapy, like, can you tell me roughly what the idea of cold water therapy? Because even I don't know a lot about it. You
Yeah.
know,
The
what the
the
benefit?
biggest thing is right. The biggest thing is necessary stresses, right? So life brings us crap daily, lots of
Mm,
stress all the time, and through bills and stressful situations. So my ethos, and I think this has been a long time, is put yourself in a stressful situation before it even comes. So if we go into the cold, I've I've been doing it for a long time, and it's still cold. And sometimes I get up and I'm having a cold shower. I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't want to do it, but that's the time to do it. When you don't want to do something that's uncomfortable, it's a bit cold or whatever, that's the time to be like, you know what, I'm going to shove my head under it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to bite the bullet for a minute, 20 seconds, whatever. And then when these situations that come to us, we don't realize it, right? We don't realize when these situations are really stressful, they arise because we're dealing with stuff on the daily. We're doing the cold showers. We're getting up when we don't want to. So even though we're like, oh, that's a sad thing that's happened, I can't imagine life if I hadn't been doing the hard stuff. For then those things, I wonder how I would have reacted, the old Mark, had I not been doing the therapy, the cold water stuff, the breath work. I wonder if that situation would have hit me even more. You don't
yeah,
know, but
yeah,
that's the power of the cold, and also the extreme benefits. Like doing it as a community or doing cold therapy is one of the only forms of kind of, I say, exposure to something uncomfortable, which gives you so many benefits so quickly. So a 3 minute cold plunge at say 3 to 5 degrees can leave you with a 4 to 6 hour dopamine hit. When you think about how dopamine is so accessible to us, playing on your phone, having a coffee, you know, smoking, vaping, or anything,
yeah.
like that's something that will linger in your body for 4 to 6 hours, which is why I say if you are listening, try not to have cold therapy too much after like 12 midday. Like if you're gonna have a
Otherwise
cold
you're
shower planned, yeah, because you won't
buzzy.
sleep, you'll be buzzing, you'll be
Yeah, you'd
laying
be
there like,
buzzy.
ah, oh, this is great.
Be like, yeah,
Um,
you got my
yeah,
hip, but now
it's like
it's
I
too
love
much.
cold therapy, but now I can't sleep. Yeah, but I mean, amongst that, there's the other benefits. Like I told you about the happy hormones.
Yeah,
Because obviously breath work as well is hard. The first thing we want to do is hyperventilate because we're like, hang on.
yeah,
But when you
yeah,
control your breath, when you really can start controlling your breath when it's
yeah,
cold, that's when you start getting like the serotonin boost
yeah.
and that sort of stuff. It comes with other benefits. It's great for your cardiovascular system. It increases brown fat. So brown fat is one of our thermogenic fats on the body. And we lose it as a baby. So as a baby, and we can't speak, so we can't tell our parents whether we're hot or cold. So we're naturally born with this thermoregulatory fat that allows us to endure more cold or endure more heat. So we lose that as we get older through like life and stress of whatever
Yeah.
situations. So you create brown fat. Now, brown fat to be created and basically form in your body breaks down white fat. It uses white fat. So if you think about it, you're losing fat and weight whilst doing cold therapy. I mean,
I'm on
I'm
it
not saying
tomorrow.
use
That's
that as
it.
a weight loss plan, but
I'm
it
in there. I'm in the cold
yeah,
plunge tomorrow.
yeah, but also the shivering as well. Like that,
Yeah,
everything should be done
yeah,
safely. Always, and it says it especially in my book, upsell there. But how to do things safely and effective. But
yeah,
there's so many benefits to it. There's so many things out there that you can point to. Whether you can go on my Instagram or you go on YouTube
yeah,
video. There's Dr. Andrew Human that talks about it. It's literally we've been doing it for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks did it. The ancient Romans did it. It's not something that's new. It's just become trendy because that's what food. But I stumbled upon it and it's the best thing I've ever done. And the guys
yeah,
absolutely love it. They're having competitions in the group chat on how cold they can get their cold plunge. I think they're nuts. But I'm happy with just a 3 or 4 minute cold shower and a few sea
yeah,
dips a week.
yeah,
But it
yeah.
it and again it creates another community.
Exactly.
I used to
I
go
think
down.
it's great. I think it's great what you've done. Honestly, I'd like really, yeah. kudos to you. I think it's amazing. And I think with the cold water therapy, like I know your book says
Mm.
all of this.
Be bold, go cold. It's called. It's
What's
a
that?
great.
Sorry.
It's called Be Bold, Go Cold. It's a great name. Available on Amazon. But yeah, carry on.
No, chuck it in there. Put a little link at the end. We'll put it somewhere on even
Yeah.
my Insta or tag you in. But in terms of sort of starting cold water therapy, so I've had a few friends, and I've got one friend in particular has actually got a cold bath, an
Yeah.
actual proper one. But I started now doing cold, just turning my shower on cold in the morning. It's quite cold. It takes my breath away cold.
Yeah.
Do you have to put it over your head? This is one thing. Do I have to put my over my head? Anyone listening, or is it okay if you just literally, you know?
Yeah. It's not crucial, but I'm gonna try and go back to my memory here because there's receptors in the brain that when you are starting to get the cold on your body, and when you're enduring it for a long enough time for your body to
Yeah,
realize that it's safe, it actually it's easier for the rest of your body to take the cold. So but it's not a necessity. I mean, we lose heat through our head. So if you're doing a cold plunge, you're still going to get the same dopamine hit,
yeah,
up to your shoulders if you're doing a cold plunge or cold shower on your back or on your front, as as you were if you're going to have your head under. But it's more like it allows your body to feel like it's safe. So
yeah.
like when I go in the sea, if I cold plunge, I do get into my, do a few breaths and then I'll get under
You
just to
do.
get my head in there. But it's not a necessity. I
Yeah,
mean, even if you're in the cold shower and you wanted to wear a woolly hat, that's also fine. I would say if you're going to have a cold shower, just get your hands in, get your feet in, rub some cold water on your arms. So we've got different receptors and pain receptors and cold receptors all over our body. So our back can actually take more punishment in a way
yeah,
than the extremities of other areas, like especially humans on the front. There's more softer tissue, etc. And there's shock points on our body. So for cold therapy, like behind the knees, down, but your lower part of your back. So I don't know when you go on cold, it's like, oh, you get that
yeah,
sensation at the lower back.
yeah,
Also, our genitals,
yeah,
they're cold sensories as well. Behind the back of the neck is a
yeah.
big one. So when I teach the cold therapy, we go in calm collectively because once you're diving in as fast as you can, this is why even getting into a cold plunge, start with your knees or start waist high and then slowly submerge whilst sorting your breathing out. Because if you dive in, you're hitting every single shock point, and that's where people can and have done in the past gone into shock. This is again, it's great for you, but you've got to do it safely and effectively. And I take clients throughout the winter and I just take them down. We go through the whole ethos of breath work. We get them
Yeah,
doing different types of breath work.
yeah.
I teach them all about this as well. And it's just about safety as well. You can enjoy it and do it safely. But yeah, to answer your question, you don't necessarily have to have your head under. But if you want to at the end, what I always do, I hold my forehead under. So it's kind of like, it kind of gives you a little bit of brain freeze. But by that time, if you're able to do that, if you've spent long enough in the shower, 1 to 2 minutes or whatever, I mean, you can start with 10 seconds, 30 seconds, build up slowly.
Yeah.
By that time, you're in it and you've done that. But I'd say actually, cold shower is the hardest of all of them. So if you are
Is
cold
it?
shower, then fair play to you because it's kind of sporadic. It's
Yeah, I
sprinkling
guess.
and bouncing off
Yeah,
you. Whereas a cold plunge, you're in it. You're like,
you know you're in it, and you got to kind of just
yeah,
breathe your way through it. And
it,
now with the if you I'll have to come down one day and do it. I actually
yeah,
have been
calm
thinking
down.
about that. I need to get some kind of wetsuit though, because I don't know. It's like no,
Okay, bring a woolly hat.
go in.
Bring a woolly
Really?
hat. Bring your suit. Yeah. So I take people in with a swimsuit. So if they want to, I'd say advise you can get the neoprene gloves and um, feet, the
Yeah,
shoe,
yeah, no,
especially for
yeah,
walking on the stones if your feet aren't used to that.
yeah.
But I always urge people to go in with just their bodies in a bikini or a bodysuit, whatever,
Okay.
because you'll be surprised how quickly, with the control of the breath and someone being there to guide you,
Yeah,
can work without a wetsuit. A wetsuit's, if you do want to do it in a wetsuit, again, do it in a
yeah.
wetsuit. But you're kind of training your body to do stuff in a wetsuit, and then
Okay,
eventually you're going to want to take the wetsuit off anyway.
okay. I'll come down then in
Just
my
come down in your,
full
but wear a
on
woolly hat.
swim gear. Okay, where will you at then? That's
And
what I'll do.
also, just another thing is people that are doing it, a really good one to do is that we lose a lot of heat from our armpits as well. So if you are really cold, you can put your hands across yourself under your
Oh,
armpits so it keeps heating. it's all about doing that sort of thing as well.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so much you could talk about in there.
There
And
is.
with so if someone was looking to come down or even find or start cold water therapy, for instance, are there things they should be careful of? Like I always think to myself, if someone's got a heart problem, should they be careful? Or is there not any?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, going into shock, that sort of thing. So I wouldn't say
Yeah.
much so necessarily for the breath work because all we're doing is breathing.
Yeah.
That's
No.
but cold shock definitely. If you have previous heart conditions, I would definitely speak to a practitioner or your GP to be like, look,
Yeah.
I'm going to start venturing to the world of the cold. Is it safe for me to do this? They might say, well, start with the hands, or don't know. Obviously, going down to the lower temperatures, 5 degrees lower, it can shock you. And if that's a shock on the body, it can shock your heart. So be absolutely careful. If you've got any sort of pre-existing medical condition, always go check it out first. I
Yeah.
wouldn't advise anyone to just go in and be like, right, I'm doing cold therapy. Here I go.
Yeah.
Because it can,
Absolutely.
yeah. If you with the sea as well, you've got to be really catch. There's so many other aspects. Like if it's a really choppy, crazy day and you're on
Yeah.
your own and you're not a very good swimmer, don't go in.
Yeah.
Or dip your toes in and sit there on the shoreline and let it just kind
Yeah.
of like ride up to your body, but don't
Don't
it's common
venture.
sense stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's yeah. Hopefully, people will, you know,
Yeah,
be
I mean,
careful.
it does explain this in my book. So if you're
I
still
know,
unsure,
Mark.
I mean, but also Google it as well. Again, internet is your
Yeah.
friend. They sometimes it will have what to do's and don'ts in cold water therapy, and they all kind of
Yeah.
like I've done a lot of research. They'll kind of say the similar stuff.
You're gonna send me a copy of your book, yeah?
Okay, yes, yes. If you promote it, I'll send it to you. Put the link in,
Uh,
and I'll definitely send you a copy. Yeah, I've got loads at home, so I'll send it out. I'll sign it as well, just in case I ever get really famous.
yeah. You get really famous, Mark. You know, I'm
Hey,
talking to you
so
pretty
I've got his
fame
book,
here.
and he was on my podcast. But if I mean, I advise anyone like to get into it or start
Yeah.
looking for a community that you like-minded and you want to kind of
Yeah.
be a part of.
And I think that goes across the board, doesn't it? Really, for men and women. We were trying to talk about this on an earlier podcast, did some stuff at the weekend that people might have seen, and me and my friend were just talking about how you just got to find your community and just spend time with them, go walk with them, go just be with them. Don't just text. Like if they're close enough and you can go and sit with them and chat.
Yeah,
It's like down the school gate. I'll always say, it's the school mums, it's our time to go blah, 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 for the week and kind of give
yeah,
a brief synopsis of what's happened in the week. And you go, oh, I've told someone,
yeah.
rather than keeping it all in. It's like finding like you always said, your tribe, your community. I think it's important for both, just everyone. But with your cold water and your breath work, you actually do meets where you have mixed sex, don't you?
Yeah, so we actually did, was it today? It's Monday. Yeah, it's yesterday. We did a mixed one. So every 3 to 4 months, I do a mixed one
Yeah.
because women have been a really big driving force behind Mind. I mean, they raised the most money when I've done the crowdfunders. They're pushing their men into doing it. They're pushing their brothers, their sons. I get messages every week from a woman saying that my husband could really do this and da da.
Yeah.
And I was to say, well, get them to message me if they can, or come down with them. So the mixed is a good event. And funny enough, a couple of the other day, two different people came down, so women and a guy, and the men were a bit nervous to come down on their own, so they came down with their women because they're very confident, and they brought them down, and now they're like, brilliant, I'll come back on my own. So they are the driving force. Look, we shouldn't be against each other. There's things for women, there's things for men, but we are together. We're like, we're on this earth together. We should be supporting each other. And I love seeing like the faces for the women yesterday. They were thanking me and they were giving me a hug, and it was just beautiful. And it's like they get to see what they've helped create for their men.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? No, I
It
think it's
is.
great. And I'm guessing sort of being around other people can kind of reduce their stress levels as well. If they, especially if they turn up every week, I'm guessing that's that week where they know they've got an aim. Each week they've got something to attend. They know they can have a chat. Any stresses they've had that week, they can chat to someone. I mean, I know you're very open and honest guy, so I can imagine them getting on with you like a house on fire. And I hope it's just a safe space, which I can imagine it is,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
totally safe. The first thing I say when we get there, because I always do a little kind of chat before we do the breath work, and I
Mm,
bring up a topic of some sort, whether it's something that I thought about or something that I believe will help everyone. And I always say, just like, this space is for you. This is for you to come up and turn
yeah,
up. Like I asked for feedback. It was a couple of months. Was it so earlier in the year for an event that I did, and I was absolutely shocked to the core. Like people saying that this has saved my life. I've never had friends. Now I've got friends.
Yeah.
Like the whole idea is consistency. So some of these guys rely heavily on man mind. And they absolutely love it. They're all friends. There's a group chat with 85 of us, and we're always talking about stuff. Again, these men are opening up. It's opened up a pathway or a gateway that they've never been able to go down. The stigma behind men talking has been rubbish for years. So now it's just a time, we're in 2024, to open up this safe space where people can be like, you know what, and no one judges anyone. There's never I don't think that I've never seen anything said ever or heard that someone's been like, oh well, this is what you got to do instead, like, be manly instead. They've all been like, mate, you should see it. As soon as someone puts something in the group chat, everyone's in there. They're like, guys, oh, we feel so bad for you. If you need anything, let's go for a walk now. And it's like, this is mad. This is insane. I love just scrolling through the messages sometimes and reading the responses. I'm like, wow. And some of the guys that were responding with these insane wisdom, I knew how bad they were struggling from the beginning. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful.
I mean, Mark, it's amazing. I mean, I've loved having you on. I think we could chat for 8 hours about this because honestly, it's something I'm quite passionate about. Is community and
Yeah.
just getting everyone sort of feeling healthier in their mind, in their body, and their souls. And I think it's really important. Like we both care about other people, so we're trying to just get this out there and just say,
Yeah.
look, find your gang. Even if it's not yours specifically, Mark, I know yours is the best, but even
Yeah.
but you
But
know what I mean? Just finding their own local ones.
yeah.
Obviously, you're Portsmouth, but if they are near Portsmouth, get in contact with Mark from Man Mind. Go on, promote your book again, Mark.
Well, you can get my book from Amazon, Be Bold, Go Cold. But I want to leave. I want to say one more thing before we go.
Yep. No.
You won't find a community if you're sat at home to playing on your phone. You've got to be in it to win it. You've got to get outside. And I know it's tough, but push that anxiety or that
Yep.
scared emotion to the side and be like, you know what? I'm just going to try something. Because I often
Yep.
say this: the worst, the worst case scenario, if you get to a place as you don't like it, you are not going to die. If you come down and say hello, nothing past if you're not liking it is going to happen. And if you don't, fine, you move on to and find another community. But and that's for any community. If you don't
Yeah.
know, then you just find another one.
Yeah.
But you've got to get out of your house and get off your phone and find
Yep.
it.
And meet people. Oh, thanks so much, Mark. Been lovely having you on.
Thanks for having me. It's been incredible.
You're welcome.